Papa told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals. Let's go!
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 28 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host, Gabriel Chelio.
And I'm Adam Casucci.
And today we're coming back with another origin story episodes. We have finished the guards in the last couple of weeks, and now we're moving on to the forwards and centers. This week we're doing Malcolm Miller and Dewan Hernandez. We're combining both because they are lower position guys in the team. We haven't seen much of them, and we're going to need a little bit more information, so we're going to combine the two. We might have to do that again later with Oshae Brissett and possibly another person on the team, so we're going to do what we can. This isn't going to be the longest episode, as it is hard to find information on these guys, but we're going to try keeping it interesting and try getting it as long as possible, possibly asking some questions and getting a nice discussion going. So to start it off, we're going to start with Malcolm Miller. Malcolm Miller was born on March 6th, 1993. He's 27 years old in Ladensville, Maryland. Miller attended Gaithersburg High School, where he served as team captain during both his junior and senior years, averaging 13.1 points, 7.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 2.6 blocks, and 1.4 steals per game as a senior. This earned him first-team All-Gazette honors and was ranked as one of the top 500 seniors in the nation by HoopScoop. The college that Miller attended was Holy Cross, and in his 4 years there, he totaled 1,013 points, 532 rebounds, 164 assists, 143 block shots, and 93 steals, ranking third all-time in career block shots and sixth in career games started, 93 of them. As a senior, Miller averaged 14.5 points, 4.9 rebounds, and 1.2 assists per game for the Crusaders while shooting 37.2% on three-point field goal attempts and 83% on free throws. He finished the season ranked second in the Patriot League in block shots, fourth in free throw percentage, seventh in steals, eighth in scoring, 14th in three-point field goals made, and 15th in rebounds. Miller led the team in scoring 13 times and in rebounding 13 times that year, while scoring in double-digit figures 25 times. Those are solid numbers. But after going undrafted in the 2015 NBA draft, Miller joined the Boston Celtics for the 2015 NBA Summer League, where he averaged 4 points and 1.3 rebounds in 12.1 minutes per game. On September 25th, 2015, he signed with the Celtics. However, he was later waived by the Celtics on October 20th after appearing in one preseason game. Then on October 31st, he was acquired by the Maine Red Claws of the NBA Development League as an affiliate player of the Celtics. Then on July 27, 2016, Miller signed with Alba Berlin of the German Bundesliga and Euro Cup.
After that, for the 2017-18 season, Miller signed with the Toronto Raptors of the NBA as the team's first two-way contract recipient. He ended up spending most of the season with the Raptors 905, though. On October 23, 2018, Miller was included in the training camp roster of the Raptors 905 and spent the season with them. Finally, on February 10, 2019, Miller signed with the Toronto Raptors for his second stint with the team. This season, Miller went on to win a championship with the Raptors after they defeated the Golden State Warriors in the 2019 NBA Finals. He barely played during his years with us, as he spends most of his time on the bench as a reserve or playing the not-so-good minutes, obviously the garbage time minutes. Even now, he gets put behind new and exciting first-year Raptors, such as Paul Watson, Matt Thomas, Stanley Johnson, and Terrence Davis. He also hasn't taken advantage of his opportunities he has been given, as he usually gets outperformed by someone else. Miller... He's a guy that is kind of a filler for this team, to be honest, if you want me to be completely
transparent,
straight.
Yeah.
He's not, hasn't taken his chances. He doesn't get much minutes, doesn't have a high ceiling. There isn't he has a great, he's very athletic, or there's something like spectacular about him. I feel like he's just a well-rounded just guy that doesn't really have an exciting aspect to him.
There's no specialist to him. He's just like an all-around. Been here for a couple of years. He just can do his part on defense and just hold his own as playing filler minutes. I think that's all he's been so far, and I think that's where it's looking right now.
He's had a number of games where he hasn't made an impact on the court. For example, 14 minutes versus Washington in December and had 0 points, 0 assists, 1 board. December 22nd versus Dallas, 0 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 0 of 4 shooting. Same thing, Christmas Day versus Boston, 11 minutes, 0 points, 0 boards, and 1 assist. He touched the floor 4 times in the bubble so far, once for 38 seconds versus the Magic, another time for 10-plus minutes, where he only got 1 rebound and 1 turnover. He took no shots in 10 minutes of play, ending with 0 points. He's not really moving, he's staying very stagnant. He's not contributing as well as we want him to.
Yeah.
However, he did play 25 minutes in the final regular season bubble game versus the Denver Nuggets, where basically only the bench played. He ended up with 10 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound, and a steal on 4 for 5 shooting. Still, that's only 5 shots in 25 minutes. It's very low, and I don't know if he's not getting open or teammates aren't passing to him, but it's just a very low usage for him. Yeah. He also stepped on for 5 minutes of Game 3 versus Brooklyn, where he had 3 points.
Yeah, Adam, what do you see moving forward with Malcolm Miller? Like, I know we talked about his ceiling not being the highest. What do you think is going to happen in the years to come? This is his last year on his contract with the Raptors. Do you think that we will re-sign him? Do you think we should re-sign him? What do you think is going to happen moving forward?
Okay, so if I was Ujiri in this situation, he doesn't have a really high ceiling, and that's one thing that you really need for a reserve. At least you want to see, knowing that you have some upside to you, knowing that you can become a rotational guy or eventual starter for the team, right? And this guy he hasn't showed any progress to work towards that. And in my opinion, that's why he probably won't get signed next year and probably will be released.
Yeah, not to mention his age being a factor. He is 27 years old, just like Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher, we've seen, even though he's playing that sometime reserve role, he still can come on, bring life to the team. He does have a lot of sparks of flashiness, his blocking ability, his length, his willingness to attack the basket or shoot the 3 ball. Whereas Malcolm Miller, 27 years old, is more of just a stagnant player overall. He doesn't show anything flashy. He's not an aggressive player. He's just a decent shooter when we put him in, but at the same time, he's not too confident, not taking too many shots, not taking charge of an offense. He's kind of just being a filler role. So I think I agree with you here. I don't see him, like, if he comes back, okay, maybe it's just to fill a roster spot, but I honestly think at 27, you might as well look towards another younger talent of someone that's, more eager to come up or maybe has more of an upside to him.
For sure. Okay, so Gabe, what do you see Malcolm Miller, his eagerness to play and his kind of want to be on the floor? Do you see him, whenever you see pictures of him in practice or in the dressing room, on the court, whatever, from pictures from the media and video clips, do you see him being very eager to touch the floor and kind of want to be in that rotation? Because to me, he doesn't seem very motivated to play and to actually be on the court.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that he has he wants to be beneficial to this team. He wants to do whatever the coach or the organization desires from him. If that's to fill a spot, if that's to sit the bench, if that's to just know his place, I feel like he wants to be, helpful towards whatever the organization asks from him. But I think at the same time, you have to show a little bit of pushback, a little bit of, but when am I going to get my minutes? When am I going to step on the court? I feel like you're saying, I don't think he's the most eager to, maybe it's because we don't see the most out of him. We don't see what happens behind closed doors, because from what I see, I feel like he's a very quiet, reserved player who maybe just takes some of that, harsh treatment and silence and doesn't ask too much for the minutes and stuff, which maybe he should be. Because I feel like in his time so far, he's been with us for probably, with the franchise in general, 905 included, 3 years, 3 seasons, pretty much. And I feel like it's gone kind of unnoticed, like his presence.
Yeah, he's hid behind other players who have emerged and have gotten better.
Yeah, we're waiting for a breakout or a shining star moment, and it just hasn't come for him. Okay, so moving on to the second player for today, we have Dewan Antonio Huel, who was born on December 9th, 1996 in Miami, Florida, making him 23 years old as of today. Dewan attended Miami Norland High School in Florida, playing on 3 state championship teams. As a senior, he averaged 19.2 points and 9.1 rebounds per game and was the Miami Herald 8A, 6A Player of the Year. Then, in January 2016, Dewan was named a McDonald's All-American and competed in the 2016 McDonald's All-American game. In the Under Armour Association circuit, He participated with Team Breakdown and averaged 16.1 points and 8.6 rebounds per game. He received offers from Florida State, South Carolina, and Miami, but eventually committed to Miami. He was rated as a 5-star recruit and was ranked 28th in the 2016 high school class by ESPN. As a freshman, he averaged 5.8 points and 3.1 rebounds per game. He showed strong improvement as a sophomore, though, and scored a career-high 23 points in a victory over Minnesota on November 29, 2017. Dewan averaged 11.4 points and 6.6 rebounds per game as a sophomore, while shooting 57% from the field. Following that season, he declared for the 2018 NBA draft. However, he did not hire an agent, so he withdrew and eventually returned to Miami. In October 2018, he announced he had legally changed his name to Dewan Hernandez in honor of his mother, Cristina Hernandez. Hernandez ultimately would not play for Miami in his junior season, though, after being suspended due to an NCAA Division I men's basketball corruption scandal revolving around Christian Dawkins. Dewan was one of 19 players named in an agency scandal. It was alleged that Hernandez entered into an agreement with his agent where he would receive monthly payments, and NCAA students are not allowed to receive any payments while being collegiate athletes. Although the charges were never proved, he was not allowed to play for the Hurricanes that season and was potentially going to be suspended for some games in the following season. This scandal overall was a relatively big one. It affected a lot of big colleges, Michigan State, Louisville, Arizona, a bunch of others. And it mostly revolved around coaches taking bribes, even like other agents to move athletes to certain programs or teams or universities. This also involved money laundering, wire fraud, and it was even attached to big-name companies like Adidas and Nike, mostly Adidas. After failing to qualify for eligibility twice, Hernandez eventually declared his entry for the 2019 NBA draft on January 28, 2019.
The teams I believe Dewan worked out for pre-draft were the Philadelphia 76ers, Brooklyn Nets, Phoenix Suns, and the Toronto Raptors. On June 20th, 2019, Hernandez was drafted in the second round, 59th overall, by the Toronto Raptors. By July 13th, 2019, Hernandez was officially signed by the Toronto Raptors to an entry-level contract. Bobby Webster said after drafting him, "To some extent, we got lucky that he didn't play last year. He kind of flew under the radar. He had a full season. We feel like he wouldn't have been available at pick 59. Hernandez was the Raptors' first draft pick in 2 seasons, having traded away for both of their selections in 2018 to the Brooklyn Nets. Meanwhile, Hernandez had a few things to say too after he was drafted. You get to like 55 and think, oh, I'm probably going to go undrafted. That's what was going through his head. When it got to 59 and they said Dewan Hernandez, I just broke down when I heard my name. I've been through so much, so to have this accomplished was overwhelming. I knew if I have worked hard, this day could happen. And I had 2 great opportunities to showcase my skills." Then, on November 4th, 2019, Hernandez received his first NBA G League assignment to the Raptors 905. In his first NBA G League game, Hernandez recorded 24 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks in a 94-109 loss to the Grand Rapids Drive. Hernandez has barely touched the floor this season, if at all, before the NBA restart. His best game came in the preseason on October 13th versus the Chicago Bulls, where he had 7 points, 11 boards in 19 minutes. But on August 12th, 2020, in the bubble, Hernandez scored his actual NBA career high, 6 points and 2 assists, including clutch shots to help the Raptors win their 6th game in the NBA restart season against the Philadelphia 76ers. In the next game versus Denver, he had 4 points and 7 boards in 13 minutes. So obviously he played much better in the Philadelphia game, playing those late minutes and coming out with the victory. He got blocked and his layup went to Stanley Johnson for the game-winning shot. So he kind of was part of that in a way. And in the Denver game, he didn't play up to his ability, but he still put up 4 points and 7 boards in his respective 13 minutes. Dewan Hernandez, as a player, I feel like he has a lot of work to do. Being drafted that late at 59, not much is really expected of you. Obviously, being a second rounder, And I think he just needs to receive more minutes from Nurse in blowout games, even a couple minutes in the first three quarters if Boucher, Ibaka, or Mark needed a rest and we were battling injuries or some situation occurred that we were down a center because of foul trouble or injuries, we could have used them. And I just want to see him play more. When he does step on the court, he does have good finishing inside ability. He can shoot the three. I've seen him make a couple before. And I just want to see him in the pick and roll game a lot with some of the guards. I want to see him in TD maybe work some pick and rolls. And but that's all I have on Hernandez. I mean, he hasn't had much time on the floor for the Raptors.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't seen too much about him. 76ers game when he came on last couple of minutes, and that was an exciting comeback victory. I know we watched it together. We were on the phone while it was happening, and he came out, balling. He was playing well. He had that fake handoff type drive, drove hard to the rack. He was aggressive. He was very into the game. He was taking smart shots, and he played overall really well. Besides that last play where he got blocked. In Denver, he looked a little more slow out there. He wasn't shooting as well, but still, he did decent. And I think that, as he gets more minutes, maybe we could see more from him. But like you said, he's got a long way to go. Like you said, being drafted that late, obviously not expecting too much, and he won't be getting that much minutes because even after, Ibaka, Mark, we have Boucher who's still fighting for his own minutes. So, Dewan, you won't see much from him during the actual season. So hopefully he's getting, strong development in the G League because he's been doing well there. That first game put up great numbers. So hopefully he continues to develop and grow, and maybe in the future we can eventually see him hit the floor. Right now he is on that rookie contract, so we can extend his contract. I do believe, obviously, out of the three on that, mid-level exception, minimum entry contracts, TD, Matt Thomas, Dewan, he's obviously the least promising and has been touching the floor the least amount of time. So it's going to be interesting for him to see if he can fight his way onto a real spot in this team or if he can work his way up. I'm just hoping that he just, continues to develop and work in the shadows. Even if it doesn't happen on the court, we don't see too much about him. He's got to do his job behind the scenes in the G League, grinding it out and trying to make a name for himself so that eventually he can show his potential to the world.
Yeah, I've seen Dewan. I follow him on Instagram, and I've seen him post a lot about waiting this opportunity and not giving up. And I think that's a big part on what a reserve player has to do, not knowing when you're going to be put in. So you can't really prepare mentally. You just have to stay locked in, and whenever your time comes, you have to be ready for it. So for Dewan, I think he just has to keep on working in the gym at his game. And I think if he really shows, first of all, in practice, shows that he could compete with kind of the guys in the rotation, I feel Nurse will start to give him a bit more minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm hoping that he, somehow pulls together a nice run. Maybe with a couple minutes he gets, he can show some real improvement. And it obviously, for those guys that are that low, it's about the off-season work. As much as you can do in the season, obviously getting your reps up in-game, it is a big off-season jump would do wonders for someone like him when you come out of the season, out of the gates, like a changed player. And, he is like a shorter center, but he's very athletic. So I feel like if he worked hard enough, if he strengthened himself, he could work up to be a decent player. The smaller athletic centers are becoming more of a prominent thing right now, especially ones that can shoot. So having a smaller center that's more aggressive, it could be beneficial for this team because that's the way the NBA is starting to turn. So I wouldn't be surprised if, something like that could work out in the future if he dedicates the time and works on the grind and he gets to where he's supposed to be. Some things could work out for him. Okay, so we decided to add an Oshae Brissett. We were saying we were going to do a next episode, but honestly, it might have been hard to team him with someone else. The only other guy I could think of would be Chris Boucher, but he got an open gym episode, so I think there's going to be a little more info on him. We might have a little more breathing room to talk about it, so we decided to throw Oshae Brissett in here. Oshae Brissett was born on June 20th, 1998 in Toronto, Ontario. Shout out to the boy. We got a hometown hero over here.
Yep.
I know that I've seen a bit about him on his vlogs. He's been doing vlogs in the bubble. And there was a funny clip where he was doing he was talking in Toronto slang with Matt Thomas, and that was hilarious to see. Anyways, in his early life, he was born to mother Makitha McFarlane and father Bernard Brissett, who both separated around the time of his birth. Brissett spent the first 4 years of his life living in the Jane and Finch neighborhood before moving to Mississauga. That, if people don't know, people are listening outside of Ontario or outside of Toronto, that's like more of a dangerous neighborhood in the Toronto area. So coming out of there is obviously, could have been traumatic toward his childhood. After initially attending high school, St. Aloysius Gonzaga Secondary School in Mississauga, Brissett moved away from home and attended high school at Finley Prep in Henderson, Nevada, in hopes of turning his basketball skills to more better competition and enhance his chances of getting recruited to a major U.S. school. After Finley Prep, Brissett returned to Canada and spent a year at the Athlete Institute in Mono, Ontario, where he excelled as their team captain.
So Brissett committed to Syracuse over USC, Oregon, and Memphis. He entered the starting lineup immediately, providing a strong interior presence alongside guards Tyus Battle and Frank Howard. For his first year, Brissett averaged 14.9 points and 8.8 rebounds per game in his first college season. Following his freshman season, there was speculation that Brissett could test the waters in the 2018 NBA draft. However, he announced his intention to return to Syracuse for his sophomore season on April 11th, 2018. As a sophomore, Brissett averaged 12.4 points and 7.5 rebounds per game. After the season, he declared for the NBA draft, forfeiting his remaining 2 years of collegiate eligibility. On July 23rd, 2019, Brissett signed with the Toronto Raptors. On October 21st, Brissett's contract was converted to a two-way contract under the terms of the deal. He will split the time between the Raptors and their NBA G League team, Raptors 905. He made his NBA debut on November 19th against the Miami Heat. On January 7th, 2020, Brissett had his best game of the season, scoring a career-high 12 points and grabbing 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal in a 101-99 loss against the Portland Trail Blazers. In the G League, Brissett averaged 15.1 points and 6.6 rebounds per game.
Yeah, so far, he hasn't played too much minutes in December. His highest playing game was 5 minutes. In January, he did get a lot more time. He had a couple of those big games, 15 minutes of play, 18 minutes of play, another 15 minutes of play near the end of December. And his highest points he put up was 4, but, we can't expect too much from him. He didn't shoot too many shots, and he's still learning into his role. Even February, he comes once in a while, but he usually doesn't have too many minutes. He's being played like the rest of the reserves, the odd 3, 4, 5 minutes. But one of his standard obviously being that Portland loss. He played 23 minutes there and shot fairly decent. We haven't seen the most out of him, just like the other guys. Sadly, he has been dealing with an injury as of recent, so we didn't get that opportunity to witness him alongside some of the other guys like Stanley Johnson, Paul Watson, who've had time to, showcase some of their talents in the game against the 76ers, the Nuggets. We haven't been given that opportunity, so hopefully we can see some of that soon. But he is a, decent build, 6'7", 210. He is young. This is his rookie season, so he has tons of chance to grow. And also, I like his personality, man. I've watched his vlogs in the bubble, and he seems very nice. He seems very into it, a good team player, a motivational guy. He was motivating Paul Watson and talking to him about his season highs and, getting his career high in the NBA. And he seems like a nice guy overall. And I'm hoping that, hoping for the best out of him because he does look, fairly well built. And I'm hoping to see more of him and the talent he has to offer.
Yeah, for sure. For Toronto, I think it's an ideal player. Canadian, obviously.
Yep.
Good build, good NBA body. Can stretch the floor, can shoot the 3-ball, which is important in Nick Nurse's offense. He did see time on the floor when Mark and Serge were injured this season. I think he understands that he needs to put in the work, especially behind the scenes. And as long as he can kind of work on his slashing and that shooting is effective, I think he can see minutes. I mean, he is a pretty good defender. I think he can get into the rotation eventually. And he has like Gabe said, he has a great attitude, always smiling. On the interviews, whenever I see him, he has that big smile on his face. And I think that's important for the locker room to be around the guy like that and to always be in a positive vibe.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward and what the direction our team takes with all these young players underway. Obviously, him Even Paul Watson, we might see more of, but him, Dewan, they're definitely guys that you're going to see a lot more in the G League if you follow Raptors 905. And definitely they got to use that time to develop, because if they want to make it here, they got to showcase their talents there and start building up a name for themselves. But I think that overall, he seems like a decent player. He's a couple years in college. He put up well-rounded stats, rebounding department, points department. I think overall, as he gets more experience, he will most likely be better. And a little fun fact, his older brother named Dijon was drafted second overall in the 2020 CFL draft by the Toronto Argonauts. So shout out to him, another Toronto, going to another Toronto sports club. It's pretty cool for the brother.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We hope you all enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at Rapzville for NBA news, NBA content, Raptors content. We got box scores of games. We're trying to keep up to date there. That account's doing well. Thank you for all the support. For this podcast, you can listen to it on YouTube. We have the visuals for it, some photos. Or you can do audio only. We got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Mixer, Breaker, some other stuff like that. Anchor. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We hope you all enjoyed. That's us signing out. Peace.
Peace.